All right, we're live. Okay, sweet. All right, a little bit later than anticipated, but we're here. Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well today. For those of you who are coming in for the first time, my name is Gabriel Quinn. I'm a character designer. I work in the entertainment industry on games and animation and recently comics, so that's pretty fun. And I have a drawing here that I've been, I just sketched up yesterday on the community Discord with some folks on there, which was really a good time. I have a really exciting announcement. So, long time coming, and I'll mention it probably a bunch of times this stream, but the newest kind of opportunity for fans of the stream to like learn with me is through a mentorship course I just dropped. So that is live right now. I think since going live, 3 out of the 10 spots have already been bought. So there are 7 spots left for this mentorship course. It'll run through November and December, starting on the 6th of November, ending on the 24th of December. However, that last feedback session will definitely get rescheduled to after the new year. So it's like a fun little break in between, and then we get to come back together and like set resolutions and stuff. But yeah, let's go. Benji's here, HG is here, Marcus is here. Sick. Good to see you guys. Sending you all the good vibes. I'm just going to drop in the Discord that I'm live. Cool. Yeah, I thought today we just keep it fresh. I was planning on maybe doing some what's the word? Some like mount and rider designs, like a very specific thing. But I figured, might as well keep it just light and breezy today and do some fun designs just for fun. Cool. So for those of you guys who are interested in the course, it is in the description of this video. Yeah. All right. We announced that we're live. Cool. We're up. We're good to go. All right. Nice. Yeah. It was made available for the patrons first because, dude, the patrons are awesome. They're great. So it's already gone live for them. And, yeah, anyone can take the course. It's kind of, for anyone who's got a good base knowledge for like drawing and characters and stuff, and this will really build on that or whatever. So I can answer any questions about the course too today if people have any. Oh man, we got everyone in here. Mojo's here, Emmy's here. Let's go. Calvin's here. Welcome, Calvin. Solaire's here. Maney. I don't think I've seen Calvin or Maney yet. Although if it's Calvin that I think it's Calvin, then hey, welcome to the live chat, buddy. But yeah, let's go. So I sketched this guy out while I was like giving some life advice or whatever. We were all chatting on the Discord together, and I just was sketching this guy out, and it was really fun. So I'm figuring we can maybe mess around with this design a little bit if we want to do some fresh new designs. That could be a good time. Nice. Yeah, welcome to the live chat. Good to have you here. Yeah, it's been really, really exciting doing all the Patreon activities with everyone in the Discord. It's been a real blast. The last challenge we did was based on some fun props. And I think, yeah, this was the one that I did, which was like a fun musical prosthetic character based on some random images we got. They were like really funky, weird images. And we had to do a character in 1 hour. So in that hour, I managed to scrape together a guy, which I actually really like. I liked how he turned out. Mago's here. Welcome, Mago. Manipold's here. Welcome, Manipold. So exciting. Oh my gosh. I already see some of the recruits, some of the students who have already signed up in the chat. Welcome, guys. So exciting. Man. Yeah, I've been wanting to teach this class for a very long time. So it's good. It feels really good to be able to. This was my first drawing of this guy, which honestly I kind of like more than the current drawing. Like this one's great. It's interesting. It's like fun. But there's something really funny about this one where he's kind of like, rah, He's much more dwarven here, I think. Yeah, the bard theme was really fun. You're so right, Solaire. So let's come up with some fun designs, man. Let's do it. I think last stream I came up with these characters based on the prompt, give a kid a sword. We kind of messed around and just kind of came up with some really fun and funky stuff. So we could work on some stuff along that line. Jarrett said he looks like someone patted him on the head and it made him mad. Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. He's upsetty spaghetti. He's very upset. He's like, why I oughta, I'm gonna get you. This one's kind of like, I've asked. Which is cool. I'm thinking we could do some fun stuff with this drawing if we wanted and turned him into a villain. Like, that could be fun. Also, welcome Jarrett. Welcome Jake. Let's go. Alrighty. Yeah, what could we do with this guy? I'm thinking, if we wanted to make him into a villain, we could do a couple fun things. We could kind of, a bit more contrast in the eyes. And I feel like we could make his expression a little more diabolical. Love the poofy kid. Oh, welcome Carbon. Nice. I know Carbon's in Australia. It's like super late for you, man. I hope. I hope you're feeling good. Exactly, Solaire. Exactly. So we're going to push the brows of this guy to make him wild. To make a character villainous, well, that is one of the lecture topics on the course that I'm doing in November and December. It's a mentorship course with a lot of one-on-one sessions and group sessions. I just have to keep mentioning it so people know about it. But yeah, so in order to make this guy more villainous, we're going to be doing a few things. One of those things is making the eyes a little more diabolical, right? This is a moment of kind of intensity or whatever, but also what we can do is add a level of kind of theatrics, right? If we want him to feel like an animation villain, you know, we can kind of have a sort of strange kind of like vibe to him, you know? Like, there's no way the main character could defeat him, right? He's too powerful. We're at a little bit more on the bottom even. That's already adding a lot, I think. Oh, welcome Nabs. Nab says, I love how dynamic the character is. Thank you so much. A joy in the violence. Exactly. There is a joy in the violence, right? So another thing is that to make a character villainous, right, is, for instance, this guy. If we want to make him a little more jagged, a little more... add some nicks in the blade. You know, that always adds an element of... any kind of jagged shape will help tell you a little bit more about the character, but it really helps with villains especially. Mojo says, I love villains that absolutely decimate the protagonist at first so we can see how strong they are. Yeah, it's good fun. That's called setting the stakes. Or establishing stakes. Jake said, just popped in to say hey before work. See you guys for the character design challenge tomorrow. Sick. Yeah, so if anyone is curious about the character design challenge, we run it twice a week. Right now it's on Wednesdays and Sundays. We're trying out Sundays to see if it works better for people. And I can kind of show you guys what we've been doing. So I can bring it on stream here a little bit. Gosh, I've been running Discord through a browser and it's just been nightmarish, but we've been actually, there's like a lot of people in the Discord now, which is really exciting. So yeah, on the last challenge, we had some really great submissions and really good work from people, but we all give ourselves 1 hour to complete a character design based on the prompts that we do. We've been doing word prompts in the past, like random words and coming up with ideas, But on this one, we've been doing a lot of like physical kind of prompts and stuff. We have fun. But yeah, so like a lot of submissions, a lot of really cool stuff. I think this was mine for last one. I think I talked about it last stream. But a lot of really great ideas, really fun ideas from everybody. This was from Marco, which is a great idea. Yeah, just like really great work. So we do that twice a week. It's really fun. We all get together and chat and reflect. This one from Jake, really great design here. It's so fun. But I won't show too much of everyone's work. I hope people are cool with that. But it's great. So yeah, let's work on this guy for a while. Yeah, I'll put the course link in the community tab as well for the channel in case anyone wants to hop in and grab it. So spots will be available until basically the start date. So until the 6th of November, you'll be able to book a slot. But yeah, I might talk about it a little bit more later or towards the end of the stream. So another key component of great character design, or one of the most important key components of character design, is Carbon asks how many spots are left. Let's see. I think it's still 7 spots. Yeah, 7 spots. 7 out of 10 spots are left. And I know a few people are scrambling to grab a spot soon. So yeah, if it sells out, I mean, when it sells out, honestly, I'll check my schedule and I'll maybe be able to open up a couple more spots. But we'll see. We'll see. Cause yeah, we'll definitely see. Oh, nice, Soler. That's so hype, dude. It's going to be a really good course. It's going to be like no other art learning experience you've ever been a part of. It's going to be really, really fun. Really fun and like a good challenge, like a really, really tasty challenge. Oh yeah, so we want to talk about hands here. So we've given this guy kind of a claw feet a little bit. What that has done is that's kind of given him almost an inhuman quality. That's like a really powerful effect you can do with villains especially. But you'll see the hands of villains are oftentimes emphasized because it's kind of the axis in which you act on. You're acting with your hands, right? You're doing the actions with your hands. So you'll see oftentimes very strange hands or very, pushed hands in terms of design. I just want to double check. Cool. I mean, one thing we could even do if we really wanted this guy to feel like a villain is if we just copy this over, we could nix the swords because we're just having fun today. We could give him like claw hands. Yeah, claw hands are great. Yo, what up, Colin? Colin's in the chat. It's hard to know you here without your signature Discord sound. And Game Lord is here too. Welcome, welcome. All right, we're doing some very, very cartoonish claw hands, but it's really fun. These shapes are really fun to do. What's been really popular recently is like people kind of like darkening the claws right at the tip and just doing a bunch of claw hands. Like that's been a very trendy thing, which is great because like value pulls attention. So if you're pulling attention toward the tips of the claws, it's a great way to add contrast for sure. So we can do a little bit of that here as well. It's also true in nature. A lot of birds, crabs, many creatures have that unique quality of increased value towards the tip. Same with beaks and stuff. It's also useful like for adding value on the tops of like noses and stuff. If you make so we're doing a villain character right now. If you make the villain a little too warm, then like rosy cheeks and stuff, if you make the character too warm, then it could almost be like a little too kind, if that makes sense. Solaire says, so he has a pirate vibes right now. For some reason, the claws are giving like falcon and crab simultaneously. It's almost like he's a mutant. Yeah, so like maybe he's cursed or something. Maybe he turns into this in some way. Can mess around with head placement if we want to, and head angle. That always makes a big difference. Right? Or if we really wanted to push the theatrics, we could take the same drawing, and usually, I'm not usually a proponent for like kind of sketch bashing stuff, but it can be effective. This is actually pushing it a little in, having his chest come out here, and totally switching up the angle, right? So what we're doing now is we're kind of paying attention to what the design wants to be, what it's trying to be, rather than trying to fix it with details, what we were doing before, which is kind of like changing some stuff, because as you change and add things, the drawing itself and the nature of the drawing changes. So now, oh gosh, I hope that power tool in the distance is not loud for you guys. I hope you can't hear that. Emmy says, although a sickly pale villain who has a wine addiction looks ever nastier with incredibly rosy cheeks. Ooh. So that's using context, right? Powerful. Good design, good design. Requires some setup, but probably worth it. Okay, cool. All right, it stopped, so hopefully it doesn't come back. Man, I got really lucky with the apartment's sound here in the city. But sometimes New York is just New York. All right, so that's not correct at all, but we're just gonna roll with it for now. So now our character's in quite a commanding position. He's more exclaiming, right? So we can think about the gesture that we want the legs to do. We can also think maybe he's even more illustrious, right? And we got that. We're looking up at him, placing the character in a position of power. So even in the process of design, it's like, yeah, you can draw Darth Vader from any angle and it's still Darth Vader. But if you'll notice, a lot of the times Darth Vader is shot slightly from below. So he's in a position of power. It helps the silhouette too, like particular designs. It helps their silhouette. But placing the camera a little bit lower, so, you know, for instance, like the horizon line would kind of be here and the feet would kind of cascade, you know, sort of down a little in front and stuff. Just a little bit of technical stuff, not too much technical stuff, but just a little bit. Because we don't really do that much technical stuff here. If you want technical help with perspective and placing characters and all that stuff, like definitely check out my good friend Modern Day James's YouTube channel. He does a really good job at explaining the fundamentals. For me, getting into YouTube, I was like not really super into doing the fundamentals all that much. So we teach theory here. We love the theory. We really do. Theory is so fun. So Lair says, then the character becomes imposing as if you're looking up. Yeah, exactly, right? It's like, it's what you're doing. It's or it's your point of empathy for the characters. You're looking up at them. So you're relating to them from a point of being below. And vice versa. You know, if you wanted a character that was a little more timid, you may draw them from like a slight looking down, so you see the kind of the top of their head. Kind of vibe, you know? Maybe they have like a little hoodie or whatever. But we're still on this guy. So here we are. He's here. Now, we could do a couple things. Oh, Keanu Steve is here. Welcome, Keanu Steve. Keanu Steve. Great name. When doing, it's very tempting here to, for instance, have a big old billowing cape, right? Like, this is so tempting. Cool. I hate Adobe pop-ups. They're so annoying. But yeah, see that adds so much, right? Like, it's so good. And of course you make it all like tattered and have little bits missing here and there. You make the cape all whatever, right? It's textbook. But hey man, the textbook is right. Oftentimes. Give him a big old collar. Now I'm just kind of doing a lot of Gabrielisms, if that makes sense. To kind of make this character work. But it is working. All right, maybe we even want to try something else with the hand. Sometimes we want a little more angle, so what if it's facing in? Would that be, how would that, yeah, that's correct. Solaire says battle worn and hasn't died yet. Vibes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It tells a story, you know, all the materials, all the costuming elements, it all tells a story. The sooner you learn that, the sooner you get excited about learning all this stuff. I feel like the way art is taught doesn't really get you excited about learning fundamentals or excited about learning technical stuff because you don't really know what you can do with it yet, or you don't really know the implication of it. Carbon says, loving the gesture. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, we're just going from imagination today. We're just making it work. JP, welcome, JP. Always got to double check because I have a buddy named Jay who streams and he visits sometimes. He like hops in the chat sometimes. But yeah, a lot of the decisions here that I'm making for this character in terms of how to make them into a villain, like I'm touching on it a little bit, but I'm not touching on a lot of the theory. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm teaching in this course in November, is like those specifics of like, why add these details? What's going on here? Oh my gosh. Corey, what up, Corey? Long time no speak. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Jay says, just finished making my portfolio day post. Oh, nice. Noise. I still got to do that. Got to make my portfolio day post, I guess. I guess you don't have to. Portfolio day can be every day, you know. It's called spamming. All right, let's flip canvas. Look at our perspective. Ooh, a lot of mistakes here. Corey said, I'm good. I hope you're well too. Dude, it's happening. We're doing it. Life is happening. We're getting by. We're living. It's all good. Jay says, doubt I'll do anything. It'll do anything for me now. But here's to hoping, I suppose. I mean, you know, it's good to update your portfolio if you can, like once every 3-ish months with some fresh work. It's kind of a good time to do that. Even just for yourself too, you know, it's a good time to check what you're capable of, like kind of like go all out on something once every 3 months, or like produce stuff that you kind of will release on a timely-ish schedule. Solaire says, I forget portfolio day every single time. Dude, it happens, man. I think there's like different stuff. There's like different portfolio days or whatever. Like I know even like some, I think companies have like internal portfolio days or whatever. It's like kind of weird. But that stuff is great. It's great to emphasize our portfolios and kind of force yourself to Subject yourself to some exposure. Exposure is scary, man. It's good. It's good to share. Or stream it. Stream it to the internet. See what goes on. Oh yeah, also, I usually say this before every stream, but I forgot this time. This is a totally interactive stream, so if anyone has any questions or anything like that, feel free to ask them in the chat. I will answer as best I can. Oh my gosh. Solaire asks, what is your favorite color and possible artist difficulty? I like combinations. I love, gosh, that is a hard question. I mean, I really love a powerful orange or like a tasteful orange. Like I was working on this painting just for me. Here, I'll bring it up on the camera. Yeah, circle cam. We're into this painting, and I guess you can't really see it in this light, but there's some orange like in between some of the highlights of the leaves, and like that's one of my favorite colors is like that orange, just in that context. There's a little painting, just for fun, just for me. It's good to have paintings you do just for you. Cyan and orange, always classy. That's true. That's true. Also, I do love a like a desaturated purple and like a rich green. That's also very underrated in my opinion. But yeah, let's see here. Get back to this villain. Make sure he's powerful. A powerful villain. Man, I have like all the Sweeney Todd songs stuck in my head. Oh my gosh, wait, we got everybody in here. Willow's here. Welcome, Willow. Moth is here. Welcome, Moth. Subsurface scattering orange is the best. So true. Desaturated pink with a vibrant cyan. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. So what's fun about this guy and his like claws is that we also have the hair and the beard also kind of follow a similar shape design. So the beard is also kind of like in that sort of claw shape, which is really fun. And the top of the head too. Oh my God, Simon is here too. Simon says, hello, finally managed to catch one of your streams. Oh, welcome, Simon. Always welcome. Mega says Sweeney Todd is my comfort movie. Oh, that's awesome. Sweeney Todd's so good. I have all the songs stuck though because my girlfriend had never seen it. And we're going to go see the Broadway production in November. So she had never seen it. She doesn't know any of the songs. And I was like, what? So we had to watch it. And that was a ton of fun. Solaire says my favorite is yellow. I don't draw a ton with it, but I really love it. The color of sunshine. You know, yellow's a great color. Highly rated. My motorbike in Bermuda was yellow. Willow says, I really like pastel pink, purple, and a melon green. Ooh. Haha, wholesome. HD says dark forest green, soft light pink, and a pinch of gold is also a great combination. That's powerful. Sweet. Man, I just got one of the strangest freelance things, which might include you know, I don't know if you guys ever played with little plastic bricks as a kid, but that's all I'll say. I might be doing something there. Nice. Moth's been pretty busy with school. That's good. Corey says, actually the light from the sun is white, not yellow. Well, Corey, thank you for the lesson. We appreciate it a lot. Kitano Ken. Welcome, Kitano Ken. Let's go. Pink makes the chemicals in my brain go off. I love it. Oh, sick. Maybe we'll do something with pink with this guy. We can add some pink stuff with him. That's allowed. All right, let's copy this guy over. We're going to flip back because I like drawing in this direction a little bit more. Just personally, just for me and my personal feelings. Corey says you were supposed to read that in a nerd voice. Well, you know, I can read it however I like, Corey, actually, turns out. The crazy thing is I can hear you in your voice saying it like so distinctly, Corey. It's kind of funny. Yeah, also I am officially taking mentees now. So if the course that I just launched isn't right for anyone, or if it's like not exactly what you're looking for right now, I am going to be offering individual mentorships, either weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly sessions. So you can contact me and look into that if you want some one-on-one guidance, talk through your art journey, figure out your goals, what you want to do, help out with the technical side of your journey, point you in the right direction, give you some guidance. I'll have to get some testimonials from my past mentees so they can attest. Pink villain. Free will? Question mark? Hype. Carbon says, what are your tips for cross-hatching? If you have anything to offer, I find I can make consistent, but it can be kind of flat when applying it. So there's different kinds of cross-hatching, as you know. But traditionally, cross-hatching would happen in kind of like an etching context for art. And essentially, it kind of followed this pattern, this uniformed pattern of, I think, whatever degree this is, like horizontal, the same one. So you'd get squares, essentially. And then this would create value, right? And then I think there was one way where they like made little rosettes. That was the goal, I think. Pretty sure. And then horizontally, yeah, I believe the goal was to get, if we're doing this angle right, which I think we are, to get basically these little small areas in, and have a really crisp, uniform look. It works better without a thin pencil, but that's kind of the general shape. But for cross-hatching, it depends on what you're doing. Like, cross-hatching can be a very successful style for like comics and stuff and everything like that. In design, you see it a little bit less, but you can use it. So one thing that can help is, cross-hatching is adding value, right? So you're adding value, and if you're working on an illustration and you're just adding value, sometimes it can kind of mess with your material implication. Like, let's say we want this jacket here to be like a corduroy material. and it has those kind of corduroy vertical lines, like a thick corduroy, and we want that to read. If we're adding a lot of cross-hatching to this, it can kind of start to confuse what material it is. So then we have to ask ourselves, like, okay, like Carbon says, OMG, I don't know about those rosettes. I mean, it's like, that's like a very, I don't even think it's called that in particular. It could be called that, but write that down. Yeah, you guys can ask any questions whenever, by the way, about anything, and I'll do my best. This is just a fun stream I do for myself now, which is cool. Yeah, I'm so happy I'm able to stream more often now, and I'm able to like offer a mentorship course and stuff, like freelance stuff, finally got a lot of stuff wrapped up. So I'm able to give myself some more free time now and transition more into this kind of like freeform teaching, which has just been so rewarding. So I don't know when I'm going to take freelance next. Maybe after the new year, but the course is my focus now, and making like really good educational stuff for YouTube. Like I'm really excited about that. But yeah, so here we have some stuff here for like material implication. If we were to draw a little bit more, like if we needed more information here, and it's corduroy, like, we'd add maybe some value, to the bevels and the edges, here and there. And we'd want it to feel, we want to know where it's going to catch the light and stuff. And we want that to feel right. And this is with a pretty, not designed to look exactly like pencil sketch brush. So it's not going to be the best tool for this, but kind of gets the job done, So you could call that hatching in a way, right? Like it's not actually hatching, but it's like kind of hatching, right? So hatching is essentially the practice of just shading or adding value with these lines. So you got to think about it like this. You're not adding shadows with hatching. You are adding value with hatching. Shadows are represented sometimes with value. But this is like a very specific technique, right? So let's look at an artist. Let's look about Franklin Booth. Franklin Booth is an illustrator that I love. I love Franklin Booth. We love Franklin Booth. Franklin Booth frickin' slays. So talk about a master. Now this guy knows how to hatch. I'll tell you that much. Let me see if I can get a high res here. All right, I think this is a high res. So copy image, this guy, etching master. This is not my work. This is the work of Franklin Booth. Gotta turn this noise off so you can see it clearly. So, I mean, look at this. Look at that. Remarkable. Look at this image. So if you zoomed away, right, what's happening in the image is extremely clear. And Franklin Booth is a master of using the hatching technique. So if we actually zoom in, you can see here, well, he's with the same technique we were talking about before, which essentially is creating those little white dots, those little kind of white rosette shapes, so that it's not like flat black. Flat black when you have hatching is like, try to have some balance. You'll oftentimes find it's more appealing to have a almost black by leaving some little white specks with how you shade, but the control creates the pattern. Wait, let me make sure I'm able to. Simon says, what do you think the Fish World project will be for? Game, book, etc.? Well, I designed it to be for any one of those things, that it could be turned into a game or a book or an animation or whatever. Like I'm doing a really wide world building approach for that one. So that'll be able to kind of become anything, right? Which was so exciting about it. It's just ideas for a world. Corey said, isn't this the guy that inked with razor blades? I actually don't know. Mojo said, Jeepers Peepers, brother. So let's take a look, right? So you can see here the cross-hatching technique. It's white on black, it's black on white. Like it's very particular how it's done. But etching is a very particular skill, right? But look at this. Look at this. And taking a break from the pattern in certain areas, right? So he leaves it alone. He doesn't cross-hatch the entire thing. He simplifies a lot of areas together with these big sweeping shapes, right? And again, kind of makes this sort of a silhouette in and of itself. But the areas that do need to be consistent, or that do need to have detail, are left alone to be drawings, right? Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So let's look at another example of cross-hatching. Even here, look at this. So he's using a hatching technique to get this look, right? It's just unbelievable. Like, truly. And it's like abstracted, but you zoom out and it's just gorgeous. Look at how gorgeous this is. This is incredible. Really special image here. So then let's look at another famous image. Let's look at the famous Da Vinci portrait. Da Vinci? This will be known to you guys, hopefully. Leonardo da Vinci. This is a drawing by Da Vinci. Maybe they have the whole image here somewhere. I don't think so. Da Vinci. Let's also bring this one in too. Even this one, you can see technique used. But let's look at this portrait of Da Vinci really quick. So we just learned that the pattern that you're doing is going to help you imply material and stuff and add value and shadow. So here we have a clear idea of the form, right? But what's interesting is that this is done in pen and ink, right? But the contours of the face are followed by the lines. So he's still getting those beautiful little rosettes in between for the cross-hatching. He's still getting that beautiful those little dots. But they are following the form of the face. So he's still using a hatching technique, right? Same on this side. So he's adding the horizontal line and the angled line down here as well. But no vertical lines or cross lines there, but he is doing it here when he needs more value. But he's following the forms. So the only reason I know a lot about this is because I was obsessed with it for a while. I feel like every artist is obsessed with everything for a while, so it's allowed. Wait. Solaire says, was this done on canvas or is it literally textured that way? Which one? The first one or this image right here? But yeah, even here, right, you can see the material of the hat. Like, you know it's cloth. And that's what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, this image was just textured this way. Like, this is pen and ink. This isn't canvas. So you can see every single dot, every single line. He added dots and lines. When you want a break in your hatching, when you need there to be a break, you use dots instead of lines. It's like a whole thing. Moth says, all right, y'all got to go back to school. Dude, take care, Moth. All the best. But yeah, all right. Hatching break over. But yeah, so hatching technique. Your original question was tips for cross-hatching. Anything to offer? I find I can make it consistent, but it can be kind of flat when I apply it. Yeah, so let's take a look here. If we were to shade this, let's just say what can we do? One section. Let's say the face, right? Let's do the face. Let's say we're like, okay, under the eyes needs shadow, so we're gonna add hatching under the eyes to make it dark. We need hatching under the cheekbone. Right? Like, it's darker. It is technically hatching, but is it actually achieving the effect we want? So let's think about it as if we were approaching it like that portrait, or for instance, like that Franklin Booth image, but mostly like the portrait, because the Franklin Booth image is more of a graphic approach to cross-hatching. So what do we know? We know we can follow the contours of the face. So let's add some values here. And let's say we want a little bit of shadow in the bottom. So we're going to add a couple cross, but only a few. 1, 2, maybe 3. That's all you need for that section, right? Same here. We're going to curve the hatching around this section. So that's now following the form. And again, this area isn't even done very well, but if you're following the form with your hatching, you'll have a much better time. Like a much better time. So Lair said, wow, it's like a simultaneous contour and value piece while also conveying material. Exactly. So even here, you know, we're like losing some idea that this is skin, even though it's shaded and from a distance, you know what the forms are from how we shaded it. So if we really wanted to approach it in like a soft way, we could have it be very light. So we're changing the size of our pencil and our pencil technique so that it's not conflicting with our main kind of signaling lines. So it'll be much lighter. We can really build it up. But I love shading faces in this way. Even that is a little too straight. We can contour that. And in areas that are going to catch shadow, you can just add a little swing, 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 swing. Very subtle, right? Under the nose especially, you want to be subtle, even though it's catching the most. It's casting the most shadow underneath. Even that could be improved. I am no hatching master, but I will tell you what I know. Those are some examples. But this guy, we're keeping him loose. So we're gonna pull back all that hatching stuff. Keep it pretty graphic. We'll add some value here, and there you go. I hope that answered the hatching question. But there's a lot to learn about hatching. There was one great video about hatching. Let me see if I can find it really quick for you. Here's one guy, and he's like hatching a tree, I think. And it was like this old video I saw. I learned so much from it. I don't even know if it's like around anymore. Dude, if you look for art tutorials now, I both envy and also feel bad because there's too much stuff. And it is unfortunately like there's too much stuff. There's too much clickbait stuff. I don't know how you guys even wade through it anymore. It's kind of crazy. Okay, here's a David Finch video on Proco, which is pretty good. Yeah, this is pretty good. This is in the context of comics, but copy video current time. Yeah, this will help a lot. Boom. Here you go. Prescribed. Yeah, I got you, buddy. No worries. All right, let's see here. So we've got our villain guy. He's kind of got this jacket. We've decided it's kind of a corduroy material, but you know, that's subject to change, obviously. Give him this big baggy cloth apparel. This guy's so fun. So we've given him this great big cape. We haven't added value yet, so it's hard to say what this is actually going to be or how it's going to feel when it's done, but we're just going to continue on with it, see how far we get. Great. Great. Mojo says, was it Proco? This video that I was talking about before wasn't Proco, but the one I just shared is on Proco from a comic artist. He's going to be pink. I don't know what you mean. You're right, Solaire. All right, great. So let's make him pink. So how do you make villainous pink work? Well, let's think here. This is an old time, right? This character is kind of dated. We've dated him based on a lot of costuming stuff. We've kind of made him a little bit older, or like older timey kind of guy, just by like how he's costumed. We've given no indication of any kind of modernity at all. So what we're going to do is add a pink that's actually possible in that time. So we're going to add kind of like a more of a pastelish pink to him. And how we're going to make it work is we're going to go for a kind of light pink and gray aesthetic with a black, like a black overtone, basically. Simon says, do you have a tip on SC? Oh, re-editing. So I hit enter early all the time. No worries. Willow says, when you're designing characters, how is that process for you? Do you design a world or do you design a character first and then build out the world? Both are possible, right? So for instance, if we're going to say like, I'm just going to do a quick idea of both, right? Let's say we have a world where people can fly, but they can fly through like strange gadgets and stuff and like weird objects or whatever, and people aren't bound by like living on the ground anymore. They can kind of go around and stuff and whatever. Then, you know, all right, I'm like, okay, well, let me draw like a fun character that, you know, has like a fun hat and the hat has these big old like propellers on it, and it's like totally normal, and they've got their little backpack kind of parachute thing in case it fails, and everybody has one, and it's a totally normal thing. And it clips underneath, and it's regulation. It's like a regulation propeller helmet, you know, or whatever. You can go that route, right? Where you think about something and then you design it. Oh, Simon says, do you have any tips on drawing shoes or feet? I do have some tips. I mean, as many tips as anyone else has, right? But I will take a look for sure. But yeah, you know, you got your little guy. He's like a little flying guy with his little flying hat. And then maybe we'll like iterate on it and make it kind of better, and you know, maybe we'll add like an interesting like cool gizmo backpack where a little feet clamps fling around, and the propeller is like, you know, facing in and flips over to be in front, and like wings kind of shoot out from the side, and there's a little steering wheel here, and it's all in the backpack, so it's like whoo, chink, and he runs off and he just takes off, right? That's a cool idea. I love designs like that. That's why I love Ghibli so much. Ghibli has a lot of designs like that. But yeah, like imagine that, right? So everybody can fly with these weird gizmos and whatnot, and boom, now you got a little character based around a prop. The other form of character design, which is like Corey says foot drawing tip number 1, draw a hand a bit different. That's so funny. Yeah, we got his little propeller guy, his little fin that pops out, and it all fits in this little compact backpack with like an engine on the top that projects over and does a whole thing. That's a cool little idea. I like it. Or, you know, we could think about an idea of like just free sketching in general, and let's take our guy here. Let's use him as an example. So we have no world around this guy, but let's say, for simplicity's sake, that he's part of the world of Sky Pirates, right? That's an IP that I'm working on. So like all of a sudden now I've introduced a new idea into the world of Sky Pirates, which is that some people have like claws. He has claw-like hands. So what does that mean? Maybe it means he's been cursed, right? He's been cursed, or maybe he's been scratched by a creature. Okay, well, what creature is that? Let's say it's a creature that, oh, you know what I'm doing? I'm doing a character I've already designed, but let's keep going. This is really fun. So let's say that the character he got scratched by became his friend, and it's actually a black jaguar that has wings. And he kind of like got these like strange claws because of this scratch. And it almost like cursed him or marked him or something. Like, have you guys seen Wolf Walkers? How like she gets bit and then the wolf heals it, but then she stays a wolf walker? I feel like it's a similar situation where this character got bit by this like cat and he got infected and he would have died, except that the cat like saved him, and then he got he got like this like feral power or something, right? All right, we can take a quick break and talk about shoes and feet. So the best way, and this is, I'm serious about this, the best way to learn how to draw feet and shoes is to draw from reference, because feet and shoes are strange. They're strange. We don't look at them a lot, you know, they're far away from our heads. And when we're looking at them from a distance, they just look like this, like that's a foot, you know, but really you've got the heel, you've got the part that kind of splays out, you've got like the big toe and all the 4 little toes, and they connect, and there's an ankle here, and then it becomes a calf muscle or whatever. And there you go. I know Cynics has a great video on feet, so I'll link that here because Cynics explains this stuff far better than I could. Boom. Here's your how to draw feet video. But feet are stranger than you think, right? If you're like kind of looking at a sort of like a footprint or like the bottom of a foot, and you were to have the kind of footprint, oftentimes the big toe is like, it's bigger than you think it is, and the other toes are also kind of strange as well. Sometimes they're like a little longer than you think they are, but they curve over, so less so. In feet that have been in shoes their whole lives, you will see a certain compression around like their toes, like they'll be kind of a different shape. Like for me, I was like barefoot a lot as a kid, so my feet are actually like more towards like the kind of natural way that feet are maybe supposed to be, I guess. So they're naturally spaced, or I can splay them out, you know, and it's no problem. But for a lot of people who have only worn shoes their entire life, they cannot splay out their toes. It's kind of funny, to me at least. Let's see. Oh, that's so wholesome. So we added a new silent focus room to the Discord channel for everybody, and I see like people are using it today, like working together. That's really cool, man. Yeah, good for you guys. You guys are killing it. Oh man, someone just posted in the Discord this great video by Lemon Collie, which if you guys haven't seen it, you got to see it. which is this video, which is a great character design demo. Like, it's a really good one. One of the reasons why it's so good is because it is using very strong reference, like a very, very intense reference, which is memoirs, letters, history, and all that stuff. So it's a historical character expressing themselves, or it's a historical character personified in like an animation style, but like, you know, embracing Rococo and all that stuff. Like, it's really, really cool. A really great video. Katon says, hello, the algorithm brought me here. Welcome, Katon. Ignore the random foot here. But one thing I will say about feet, which I think don't hold back from making your feet kind of weird. Like, if you kind of have a knee and the calf muscle and your foot's here, like, don't be afraid to kind of like, it's like, yeah, you got your heel, and then, you know, you can kind of have the foot be like a strange shape. A lot of people's feet are like weird shapes, you know, like you can have the feet be quite, dynamic, funky even. And feet, much like the human body, come in all different shapes and sizes, completely different shapes and sizes. So worst comes to worst, use your own feet as reference. I remember, I will never forget the day I sat down with my grandfather and I was like, can you teach me to draw? And he's like, what do you want to learn? And I was like, how do I draw a hand? And he goes, what are you talking about? You got one right here. And I was like, oh, no. I felt so dumb. Of course it's not that simple, but in some ways it is that simple, right? All right, so I'm doing a big cat from imagination, which is a bad idea because I have not drawn many big cats in my artistic career, so I feel like I'm definitely messing up a little bit. Oh, there you go. All right, kind of got it there. But yeah, so let's imagine this guy got bit by a big cat, and it caused a reaction that gave him these kind of like strange powers, right? So I love his pose. I almost want more from his pose. Like, I want more from him. I'm more demanding than I think I am. So let's try and widen his legs a little bit, and we'll see what that does. It actually does more than you think, believe it or not. Boom. Widened. Stance widened. He's so wide. So Lair says, oh my gosh, I want to do this with bugs. Yeah. Draw bugs, I think. Willow says, if you need a good place for reference, it's just a good place for reference for movement. I recommend looking at the Merry Monarch Festival Gallery. Ooh, good idea. Noted. Willow says, Hula has so many different movies that flex different muscles of the feet and legs. You see muscles that you wouldn't normally see. That stuff is so great. Solo says, hello, who was the artist you took a mentorship with? Was it David Coleman? Oh, I wish. I don't know if David Coleman does mentorships. David Coleman, I love him. I love him so much. I met him. He's a really nice guy. Oh, that's so cool. This hula thing. Great suggestion. Willow. David Coleman, for those of you guys who don't know, there's a David Coleman print in my studio. It's this drawing. Bam. There it is. He's a great industry artist. He worked on like he did work on Surf's Up and like a lot of Disney stuff, and it's great. Or maybe Disney. I don't know if he's worked with Disney, but he's worked with a lot of people. But on Instagram, he's David's Doodles. Go follow him. He's a great artist. Really nice guy. But no, I did a mentorship with Michael Relf, he does a lot of stuff. He does actually primarily illustration. Well, he's an animator, so he animates, but he also does illustration. He does like so many things. That's why I wanted to do a Yes Disney. Yeah, okay, I thought so. Yeah. So he did so many things. I kind of wanted to learn from him who's also accessible to me, you know, which is nice. A lot of these guys who like work at Disney and stuff, it's just like they'll never do mentorships because it's not worth it for them to do it. It's like their time is too valuable. Kaiten says, "Who are you, Gabriel? What works have you done / been featured in?" That's a great question. So, see ya, Mojo. Hopefully you'll come back later. So for me, I've worked for a number of media companies, but gosh, you know, I started working in the industry a couple of years ago, or actually, what's the exact date? It maybe hasn't even been 2 yet, but I've worked on animation show pitches. I've worked on games and fun stuff, but nothing that has come out, because when you start, no one's going to see your work, your industry work, for like years, because it takes so long for things to come out. Or if you work in Blue Sky, which is most of what I do, your work is never going to be seen because projects get canceled, or they're trying to get greenlit, they don't get greenlit, and your stuff is locked behind an NDA forever. So you will probably never see anything I do for a long time professionally, which is why I love streaming, because I just get to draw on stream with people. But yeah, nothing out that you can see tangibly, but I love it. I love this, man. I love character design. I love story art. It's the best job ever. All right, sorry, I just had to check something really quick. Oh, Sandman's here. Welcome, buddy. Sandman's like the OG viewer. The OG. One of the first in. I think he found me through when I did a buddy stream with Modern Day James, which I gotta talk to him again, actually. I'm going to shoot him a message so I remember. Thanks for your patience, guys. Katon says, thanks for that. Looking at your line work. You seem like someone I'd love to learn from. Oh, man, for sure. For sure, for sure. Yeah, I love line work. Good line work is like, it's the juice. We were talking about that in the Discord, actually, about like thick lines versus thin lines and what you can kind of do with both and what they kind of give you access to. You know, thick lines, you can do ideas a lot faster with less detail and you can like imply more, but it restricts a certain level of like potential realism. You know, we were talking about why all those old Disney movies are animated with like very thin lines for the characters. Because when in motion, it really does feel like a real person. Like actually. Pretty darn cool. All right, so let's move on because we really want this guy to come to fruition here. Let's think about how we're going to finish him. So Let's see. This is kind of a pirate-y captain-esque kind of guy. What's going to be... Well, we have to include pink, apparently, with this guy's design, so that has to happen. Which is kind of funny. We'll add a little waistcoat, because, waistcoats are a sleigh. So we'll include a little waistcoat for him. The waistcoat will be gray. His outfit will be like a black kind of corduroy look, I think. And we'll have it tie here, maybe come out. Hunter says summoned by notification, no jutsu. Welcome, Hunter. I don't know if I've seen you in the chat before, but welcome. Solaire says, I ping pong between loving lines and wanting to paint. Hey, both are valid. Both are valid. Salmon says, what are you designing? Is there a theme today? So today we've just kind of been like free sketching. We've been working on this guy. This guy started as a fun, weird, kind of grumpy character. Or let's find the OG drawing. He's like a little guy. And we wanted to explore like, ooh, well, how do we make this character? Which at the time was this guy. We're like, how do we make him more villainous? So we've kind of entered this phase of changing the angle. So it's like a top, or it's like a looking up angle. So you really feel the presence of the character. We've, changed some of the costume elements to make him feel a lot more imposing. Because we want him to feel like a big bad villain, right? A big bad is different from like a comedy relief villain or a silly villain or whatever. Like this is a big bad villain. In theory, right? And we'll give him a sick origin story too if we want. Big man salmon. Great. He's just a little guy. He was, but he's grown up now. He's grown up and he will have his revenge. I will have my revenge. All right, so he's pretty epic. The only thing not so epic is this hand. This hand isn't really, it's not really giving, you know? This hand's pretty good. I like it. In theory, it could be better. He only has 3 fingers. Should we give him 4? The real question is, does he deserve 4? Who's to say? Yeah, we'll give him 4 fingers. I mean, we don't have to. You can have 3 fingers. That's almost kind of cool. But that means 1 fell off, which I don't know. Colin said this guy's definitely invited to boys' night out. Oh my gosh. Heck yeah. Yo, Colin, were you here when I mentioned we have a... Whoa. We have tickets to go see Sweeney Todd on Broadway. I'm really excited for it because you really sold me on the Mrs. Lovett, because we watched the movie again and like Helena Bonham Carter's great, but I don't know. I feel like I wanted a little more from Mrs. Lovett in the movie. Maybe, you know? Just a little bit more. Oh, I'm so excited. Hunter said, you ever do turnarounds for these characters? Loki having a hard time getting characters on model from all angles. Yeah, turnarounds take time. Like, it takes time to learn how to draw characters on model. If you're on a project for any period of time, you'll just kind of gain that skill because you have to. Like, especially working on a show that, like, maybe they want to have it be like toys or whatever. Like, I've worked on show pitches where you're having to do the many characters that are on model in shots doing different actions, and you need them to be on model. For this kind of biz dev work, like super technical turnarounds, I will do it sometimes, but that's not super my area of expertise. Like, or I'd rather get hired to do the rough concepts and, you know, give it to someone who's really good at turnarounds than do them myself, but I can do turnarounds. I don't know if I have any for any of my recent characters though. I'm so hyped, Colin. Salmon says, give him big, blocky Jack Kirby hands. I could. I could. All right. I love this hand. It's like super weird. We're going to keep it and we're going to just change it a little bit. So we need it to work anatomically. So the knuckles do have to be appropriately aligned with each other. But I love how strange this gesture is with the hand. Solo says, what is the best thing you got from Michael Ralph? Honestly, realizing I had ADHD. That was mostly a joke. What I got from Michael, gosh, what didn't I get from Michael? Honestly, just kind of a calmness around art. A calmness and like an ease of like, you know, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get where I want to get. I'm going to get there. And that was great. That was really, really powerful. And it's something I communicate and where I really try to instill in my mentees as well, is that same idea, that same practice. Wow, so inspiration. Exactly. You know, a lot of the things that stick from mentorships, a lot of it is like the person you're becoming. It's not necessarily so much like what are you learning objectively, but like who is the person that you are becoming through this process. That sounds like character design for yourself. Man, exactly. Character design for yourself. Like literally though, you know, you're writing your own story every day with the actions you take. I think it was Socrates famously said, we are what we repeatedly do. Hunter said, talking about mentorship, how's ticket sales going for your upcoming course? Went live past weekend, right? So it actually went, dude, yeah, no, definitely shameless plug, dude. I'm really excited for this cohort of students. So it went live yesterday, and I think 3 spots have been taken out of the 10. Let's see. Yeah, so 7 spots left for this mentorship course through November, December. You know, I'll take some time and I'll talk about it a little bit now. we'll talk about the course a little bit. So here, I'll pull it up on stream so you guys can see. Boom, boom, boom. So this is the Gumroad page for the November-December course. So essentially, there's going to be a 7-week character design mentorship course. It's going to be intense and fun and exciting. It's going to start on the 6th of November till the 24th of December. The link is in the description. I'll also post it in the community tab on the YouTube channel as well for all those subscribers who are, popping in or whatever, who aren't going to see the videos. So the structure is going to be lectures on Mondays, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. EST, and group feedback from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. EST on Sundays. So it'll be feedback on Sunday, and then the next day is going to be the lecture, because I know a lot of teachers stack feedback and lecture, but it's too much, I think. Feedback will probably spill over, though, to be completely honest, because critiquing 10 people in 2 hours, it's doable, but I'll do a lot of prep, so it's all on time. There's also going to be, and this is why it's the price that it is. So the individual feedback sessions are going to be every week. You'll have an individual feedback call with me for 1 hour on how you're doing during the mentorship, and also just how you're doing on your art journey. So you'll be able to get the most out of the different assignments through those one-on-one conversations that'll happen once a week. And we'll pick a day that works for you, for each member, for each person who takes the course. We'll pick a day to work through that stuff. It's really exciting. So you'll have 7 total one-on-one sessions with me. So the price breaks down to basically $100 a week for 7 weeks straight. So this will take you through to the end of this year in terms of assignments, stuff to work on, and the lectures are going to be extremely extensive, and you'll have access to them forever. So you'll be good in terms of that stuff. But yeah. So the lectures are going to be really exciting. It's covering a broad spectrum of character design, but we're going to look at specific examples. However, those examples are going to expand on everything you need for Instagram, right? Or not for Instagram, for character design. I just read Instagram or something. Mego said, will you announce the course on socials like Instagram? It would be cool to share it on stories and repost it. Yeah, I'll announce it for sure. I just wanted to bring it to the Patreon audience first and the YouTube audience second, because you guys have been incredibly supportive, and I'm really, really grateful, and I want to give priority to you guys. And then I'm going to post it on Instagram as well next, because that's where I think my biggest reach is on Instagram. But they haven't been watching the streams, so they don't get priority here. I know it's silly maybe on the outside, but it feels right in my heart. But yeah, so week 1 is going to be if you give a kid a sword, and that's going to be about the power of symbolic props. It's going to be the power of when you give a kid a tool, or when you give a character anything, it changes who that character is. So the example is giving a kid a sword, and that's going to be the assignment. Week 2 is going to be covering villains. So we've talked about that a lot today, but not in significant depth. But we're going to be covering villains in absolute significant depth in the lecture, and you'll be designing your own villain, which is really exciting. It'll be up to you whether you want it to be across a cohesive world that you are designing and wanting to design, or if you want to do one-offs and keep it fresh and keep it exciting. Both are possible. Week 3 is going to be simple heroes made better. That's going to be covering a lot about backstories, details, motivations, and understanding when to push it and when to pull it back. Week 4 is going to be knights and squires. So that's covering a lot of topics like mentors, tyrants, unlikely friends. So a lot of pairs, but particularly like mentor-student pairings. And the example is going to be knight and squire. But there's so many examples to this particular dynamic that, again, is really, really rich and necessary for any good character designer. Animal sidekicks. Why? So this is going to be a really, really fun one, because no one knows when to do an animal sidekick, or why to do an animal sidekick, or what an animal sidekick actually does for a story or for a world. Oftentimes you'll hear producers kind of be like, well, he needs a funny animal sidekick. And you're like, well, this is just some suit saying it. But there's a reason. There are reasons for this stuff. So we'll be talking about that, and you'll be designing a character and their animal sidekick, which will be really fun. Dynamic pairings, romance, friendship, comedy. So designing characters in pairs. This is going to be very, very a fun one, because duos is kind of the secret to character design, to be completely honest. Thinking of characters in duos is essential. Even if you have hero and the villain, even if they never meet until the end, it is a duo design by contrast. So talking about dynamic pairings like this, again, these systems of design, these ideas are so essential and nobody teaches them. And it drives me crazy because you get like a whole world of these flat characters that everyone is sharing and stuff. And people design one cool character and everyone's like, oh my God, they're so cool. And like all it is just a successful design that someone did after understanding the story that they're in. So hopefully you guys are able to get as much out of this as I'm putting into it, and we can create some cool stuff. And the last assignment on week 7 is if they can fly. Symbolism, freedom, implication. So this is going to be all about the character's capacity. So if a character can fly, that changes who they are, all that stuff. Like, of course, everything changes who they are based on whatever design choices you make, but the character being able to fly is a really significant one. Looking at a lot of examples like that is implicated in Studio Ghibli and in Disney. When a character can fly, it's a different kind of story, which I love. So we can talk about that. Well, we will talk about that. It's my favorite assignment. It's and we'll go for it. So there's definitely some goals and important outcomes and stuff, but the sections here are like important. The thing you should know is that participants will be working in their own style. And after each lecture and demo, they will be tasked with taking these open design assignments and turning them into original and interesting designs unique to their own interests and passions. So through this course, you'll gain the capacity to effectively research and ideate on your own. And those one-on-one sessions are going to be great for talking through those roadblocks and getting those systems really clean and functional so that you are not left out alone, wondering what to do next. Like, you'll know what to do next. If the participant is not confident in their style, then we'll work together closely to set achievable quality benchmark goals and deliverables. So like, if you're kind of stuck on that part, we'll work together and make sure that it's doable, and you'll definitely get a lot out of it. And the lessons and demos will provide a clear framework and direction for participants to feel confident applying themselves in this way. So this really is a design mentorship. Like, it's not going to be design a sad knight with a broken sword who doesn't know what to do next. Like, specificity is great, and we'll get to that point of specificity after you yourself learn how to write effective briefs for yourself, and through exploration and research and all that fun stuff. Solaire says, oh my, I'm so excited. Dude, I'm really excited too. Hunter says, interesting topics. Was into the psychological approach to art with the kid with the sword demo, crash course in the last stream. Looking forward to the course. Yeah, dude, it's going to be great. So eventually, next year at some point, I'll be able to turn kind of, some of the topics here maybe into self-study courses that, you'll be able to get on for whatever, like if like far in the future, but it'll be a while till I can do that. But yeah, also it's hard to do this stuff self-study because so much of it is that dialogue back and forth with a competent designer. But yeah, the goals and outcomes: after 7 weeks, you will have created 7 diverse character designs and duos that you will be able to build on and use as a springboard into future ideas and learning. You will have refined your process and gain momentum to continue creating characters that are evocative, have depth, and feel alive. You will also develop a hunger for constructive learning, continue to build your visual library, and expand your knowledge of story and design. In short, this course aims to teach a man to fish rather than give a man a fish. So this process will last you your entire art journey. You can build on it, develop it, make it more fit for you. And the requirements are pretty loose. Basically, you just got to be able to have enough time to do it, recommended 5 to 8 hours a week. But, if you have very limited time, then you could get it done faster. But, if you're able to really go through the process, then that's the only way to really learn, is to give that time and do the process, right? Also, it would be beneficial for participants to be comfortable with drawing the human figure enough to not get stuck before the creative process can occur. So if you're just stuck on technical stuff, it's difficult to be in the design mindset. And a basic knowledge of human anatomy is recommended, as well as a basic knowledge of the fundamentals of art and design, which if you're unsure of what that is, then maybe do a quick Google. Maybe and you don't know, But yeah, it's definitely more of an intermediate stuff for sure. Katon says, will the lectures be available to purchase later? I may rewrite the lectures later and kind of strip it down so it's maybe a bit more simplified for a self-study thing, most likely. But the real value of taking this course in particular is that during the lectures, you can ask questions and I'll answer the questions and I'll address it in the demos for each week. So I'll address each question and everything to make sure that everyone understands. Just some like fun drawings I did a while ago, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this course has 7 spots left. Anyone's welcome to do it. And yeah, I'm really excited. All the information is here. And an email for the people who already got it. An email is gonna go out to them with all the preparation materials. Basically, I'm gonna give some exercises and stuff in preparation for the course, which is gonna be hype. Solaire says, I'm trying not to look too closely or think much about the prompts because I already have so many ideas for the kid with the sword. Hey, listen, anyone can be inspired by these titles and do maybe like think like, oh well, what if I give a kid a sword? Anyone can do that. You can do 10 before the course starts, and you'll still be challenged by the assignment when it gets to the course start date. So yeah, the start date is going to be on the 6th. It'll run through all kind of let me pull up the cal. Yeah, so it'll start on the 6th of November, and lectures will be on the 6th, 13th, 20th, 27th. So those Mondays. And also in December, it'll be on the 4th, 11th, and 18th. And then the last feedback session would fall on the 24th, so Christmas Eve, but we're going to push it to, after the new year. Or maybe the 31st, right before the new year. We'll see. No, it won't be New Year's Eve. We'll do it after the new year. We'll find a day that works for everybody, and we'll do a nice group feedback session for that last one, and we'll like set New Year's resolutions or whatever. It'll be hype. Yeah. Hunter says interesting topics. Oh, already read that one. Cool. Man, I'm so glad you're excited, Solaire. Like I'm so hype. It's going to be great. Yeah, I put a ton of work and designed the course that I wish I had when I was learning this stuff. When I decided I wanted to be a character designer, I wish I had this course that I'm about to teach. So that's me being able to give back. I will probably run this course again in the future. So absolutely, if it's not possible for people who really want to take it, don't stress. This course will be offered again in the future at some point, probably next year, maybe late next year. But yeah. Mago says, I'm so excited. Thank you so much for doing this. Oh my gosh. I'm so hyped. Hyped as heck. It's gonna be really good. It's gonna be really good. Yeah. What I'm really excited is actually for everybody to be inspired by each other too. Because when you're in that group setting where you're going through feedback and stuff, it's gonna be great. Simon says, why does this character radiate the energy of don't speak to me before I've had my morning coffee? Well, that's a good villain, right? A good villain puts you on edge, makes you not really want to talk to them. Cool. Got to decide what boots to do. So, when it comes to shoes, reference is your friend. Someone asked about shoes earlier. You got to have reference, man. If you don't have reference, you're lost. Also, let me just do a quick time check how long we've been going for. All right, about an hour and a half. Nice. So we'll continue on a little bit more. Hunter says, POV, you've shattered his coffee mug. So true. Hunter says, will you still be streaming during those 7 weeks? Yes, I will. So basically, I'm going to continue with my regular streaming schedule. So last week I skipped Friday, and I'm thinking maybe I might only stream Tuesdays and Thursdays. I don't know if 3 streams a week is too much. But who knows? Who knows, man? We'll see. 2 days a week feels pretty good. So I'm definitely going to stream today. I'm also going to stream on Thursday. If I feel that it's right, I might stream Friday too. But so far, I also want to move towards doing more scripted videos. So like a really effective 20-minute video rather than like 3-4 hour streams that kind of communicate those ideas that I could do in a 20-minute super effective video. So I want to do a balance of both. You know, doing some live, talking to people, designing some stuff for fun, you know, just setting some time for me to sketch. And then also scripting out some really effective videos and stuff, and maybe doing some really small gum roads, like really effective small gum roads. I might do one titled how to think about character design, like how to even approach character design, because it feels like people are really out of the loop in terms of what it even is. So that could be good to do for sure. But yeah, I'm really excited to do this. It's going to be cool to shift my time more to teaching and doing demos and like being of service. Yeah, freelancing, man, it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff, and it's hard when all the stuff you're making doesn't see the light of day. It's like a psychological thing that is difficult. So I like being able to stream and just share some fun work and offer courses and stuff. Simon says, have you made any of those videos before? If you haven't, do a couple of short videos on YouTube to practice. Yeah, I haven't published anything yet. I've scripted a bunch. I'm still figuring out kind of like my editing style, what I want to do for that. I want it to be pretty clean, pretty effective, and to feel like it has a good rhythm, so people can really just get the information and it feels fluid. I don't really want to do a turn on OBS and just like talk at the camera for like an hour incoherently. Like I want it to be really, really tight. So we're going to do the same kind of corduroy pattern. Oops. Following down the cape here. I maybe want to give this guy, like, I'm kind of feeling like maybe he needs a sword. Right? We're back to the sword idea. Full circle. I love the paws of big cats. They're like huge. Give a villain a sword. Yeah, what happens if you give a villain a sword? Let's do it. We'll have it kind of facing away. And we'll have it be very, very fancy. A classy villain. That's an archetype for sure. A classy villain. There's also kind of a faux classy villain like Captain Hook. Almost like a gaudy classic villain, like a pompous classic villain. Marcus says maybe a whip could work too. Also the cat and dominance symbolism. Ooh, maybe. Could definitely do a whip potentially. Not a bad idea. It would definitely add a lot of narrative implication. Like, if a villain has a whip, it's difficult for you to feel sympathy for them. And surprisingly, sympathy for your villain can actually be a really useful thing. Sympathy for your villain can help you show, for instance, another side of your hero. Like if your hero goes a little too far. Or it'll help you empathize with their position so that maybe you're not so rooting for them and your tension is kind of raised in the final conflicts because maybe you have a little bit more sympathy. Giving a villain a whip is kind of like saying this person is like is kind of evil, right? A sword, there's some back and forth, capacity there, right? But a whip is very aggressive. But that instinct to give him a whip is not a bad instinct at all. And I think if we wanted him to be an insufferable villain that we really wanted to see fall, we really wanted to see them lose, then giving them a whip would be a fantastic prop choice for sure. But they would also change the hero that we design. So villains are very dependent on heroes. Heroes are very dependent on villains. In terms of like their design and whatnot. And that's a whole thing in and of itself, right? So we've given this villain quite the cape. And it really is quite the cape, isn't it? But that's like so fine. We've done the classic kind of balloony pants. Always fun. If we want to add some kind of a humor-esque quality, we could give a checker pattern to the pants. That adds some levity. Stripes are also very effective for that too. The motif of the rest of this pirate crew, for those of you who remember the Sky Pirate streams I did before, stripes are definitely involved, so we're definitely going to do stripes. But oh, sick Simon. Simon's new. Found Gabriel through the Fish World VOD. Oh, dude. Fish World. So much love for Fish World. We could do a Fish World sketch to close the stream later. That would be fun. Yeah, also, guys, if you guys are enjoying the stream, definitely hit the like button. If you guys learned anything in particular from the streams, definitely let me know in the comments, like what stuff you've really enjoyed and what you want to see more of, so I kind of know what to continue to focus on. I know people really liked the last video I did, the Give a Kid a Sword video. That was great, so maybe I'll do some more content like that in the future. More big theme, talking about those big themes and stuff. Yeah, so I am running the course. That's going to happen in November. And I am now taking on individual mentees. If that's more your style, you want to do more of that stuff, you can hit me up for sure. Manifold says, but the real question is, do stripes make you look thinner? If they're dark stripes, then yeah, they actually do. Black really is slimming. That's like a real thing. But if they're not, and the character is actually more round, it can really have a negative impact. But if you really want to sell the forms on a character, definitely add some stripes for sure. This is too many stripes here on this guy, unfortunately. So we're gonna nix the stripes, I think. I think we can stick to the loose corduroy look, actually. I think that'll work really well for the pants, the vertical stripes. kind of fake folds and whatnot. This guy's so fun. He's so cool. Salmon says, I suggest an Iron Foot slug themed character. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but that's kind of cool. Solaire says, I have a bright yellow wide-legged corduroy pants. That's awesome. That's so sick. Corduroy's the way, in my opinion. Let's flare the pants. So let's have them tie off and kind of flare here. That'll be nice, I think. Marcos says, Gabriel, do you have an overlapping theme of jesters hidden in your art as a brand, or is it just your pirates? Maybe I sense that because your colors and other works too. I will always love kind of jestery aesthetics. I think it's just built into my brain. You know, I was raised on that kind of stuff, and I love it, man. I love the kind of jestery theatrical vibe. It's just so fun. It's so fun. I love it. I'll never not love it. So what we're doing is we're actually following what we were learning before. If you guys remember the earlier question about hatching, we were talking about following the forms. And what we're doing is with these corduroy lines, we are following the forms of this jacket. Making sure that the sleeve is appropriately attached to the body in the appropriate way. And that kind of shows all the forms and stuff, right? Because it's kind of folding over in on itself and whatnot. So kind of shows the stretching kind of quality of the jacket a little bit. And this is a loose design, so we're not too hung up on perfection here. Hyomu, welcome. Salmon says, sorry, it's a snail, not a slug. I mixed between the two. Oh, interesting. Yeah, we could do it. We could do it maybe that vibe. Simon says, nice. Simon says, what about give a villain a teacup? Well, I like how you guys are thinking. You guys are thinking in a really incredible way. Snoozy J, welcome Snoozy J, says, hi, just joined the stream. Love the clothing on the character. Looks great. Ah, thanks, Jay. Appreciate that. Yeah, this guy's coming along. We like him a lot, actually. We're maybe going to give him kind of crazier hair because he's a villain. Villains can have kind of crazier hair. We also want there to be like a coherent theme in the hair, too. Strong shapes. Let's see. Carbon says, what would your regular mentorship be like? How often would you do one-on-ones? How would you work with the student? Well, that would be very much up to the student. So I would work out a schedule that would like work for each student. And in terms of like hourly or whatever, it would usually match my rate for what I do for freelance. So just, you know, an hour or two of my time for sure. It depends on what the student needs. So for me, I've done mentorships where we've done weekly meetings, and that's been really helpful. I've also done mentorships where it was only monthly meetings, and that was really helpful too. I think if the student is really self-driven on what they want to do, monthly sessions can actually be better because you are kind of managing your project, doing your project, and you're kind of meeting for number one, accountability and just general direction. So that really helps. So if you kind of are on a tighter budget and you need guidance, but you don't want to be meeting once a week, which sometimes that can be too much for some people. Then we could, for instance, do like a monthly session, which would be pretty great. The alternative to that is actually doing it weekly. So for instance, if a student wanted assignments and wanted to get feedback on those assignments and grow and like go down a pipeline that will help them get where they need to go, then that's also possible. I've done that with students before with great success, and I've done mentorships like that with great success. Hunter says, what are your freelance rates? You can inquire if you would like. Generally, you never really want to say your rates publicly, usually, because companies, you never know. But if you're curious about mentorship, you guys are totally free to inquire. I think my contact is pretty easy to find. I think my email for that and stuff, pretty sure. You can hit me up on Instagram as well. I'll see it 100%. Yo, see you, Simon. Thanks for joining in. It was a lot of fun. All right, he's got his sword. He's got his swaggerous gesture. I even think maybe we could bring him up a little bit more. Right? Am I crazy for this? I'm not crazy for this. We could even push it even more, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is even better. Yeah, I could also help with like character design or world building. Definitely do both for sure. Marcus says, I have to go now, but I'll definitely finish the recording of this later. It's always good seeing you draw. First time catching you live too. Oh, sick, Marco. Dude, welcome. And see you next time on the next live. This is such a fun character. Maybe we do some, maybe we add some color to this guy just for fun. See how far we get. First, I think we want to figure out what kind of boots this guy's wearing. So I kind of want to do like a weird side lace or something. Like a strange boot design, maybe. Something a bit more like rugged or a bit more fun, perhaps. Salmon says, hopefully I will watch 24, 25, and 26 episodes of The Bleach tonight. Oh, nice. Dude, I don't think I've seen 26 yet. Man, the new Bleach is so good. It's so good. Also, shout out to all the lurkers on stream. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Keep lurking. I love you. Gonna make his hand bigger for, again, that like large presence. All right. This has been a really fun guy. Let's just drop in some color, man. So I guess let's start with a kind of like a brownish base, see how far we get. I'm going to be super loose with the coloring here. Nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy. Just kind of a base tone, right? We're working with opacity right now, which is, you know, people have their opinions, but I think it's totally fine, totally fun to work with opacity with this kind of stuff. Ha 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 ha. Nice, Nabs. Hunter says, random video idea, hear me out. Redesigning characters, like push and pull shapes and designs on hero-themed characters, villains, or something like that. Hey, that's totally possible. Changing up or redesigning or like doing your take on whatever, like that's really fun. It's a lot of fun to do, and it's a great way to learn. I don't know if you guys have ever done that, but it's a great way to learn. Let's add, actually, you know what we're gonna do with the corduroy? I feel like adding a cooler. Ooh, that's way too. There we go. Adding a cooler tone to the corduroy will be really nice. Because remember, we're going to incorporate pink into this, apparently, which I am just doing because I am. Oh, man. For skin tone, I guess we'll think of him as kind of like we'll start with a yellowish base, I think. Go a little warmer. Go a little rosy around the joints, around the fingies. I love going really rosy around the joints and stuff for hands. It's always really fun to do. Sandman says, it is. The added marshals to the anime look cool. Squad Zero fighting us. Oh, yeah, exactly. It's so cool. So cool. I love that we got to see Ichigo fight like once. Like, if that, so far. Like, he's like not even in the show. It's like kind of funny. I know they're saving it all and stuff, but still, it's pretty good. All right, well, maybe do like a silver motif for the sword. That seems pretty fun, I think. The pose is still pretty stiff, but we're just going to roll with it, I think. Yeah, exactly. But, you know, we'll get to see more. I love Bleach, man. Such a good show. All right, so we're going to start to paint in maybe some darks here and there. Nothing too crazy. And again, we can always go in and rework some areas and stuff, but we're just going to imply some shadows. And we're doing this on one layer because I don't want to be too precious about it. If I start to separate layers out and stuff at this stage of concepting, for me, usually I just never finish stuff. So I've been training myself to be a little faster in terms of dropping in shadows, knowing what values to pick for shadows. Usually with character design for each character, you want each like article of clothing or whatever object to be two distinct values. That's a good rule of thumb. If you look at successful character designs that you like, having 2 values per kind of object or whatever is generally the best, like enough to communicate form, but not too much to like, mess up how you're drawing the eye or whatever. What up, Sunny? Welcome to the stream. Sandman didn't like early Bleach. Well, that's fine. I didn't like you, so it's fine. Now, like every show, Bleach took its time to kind of get going and for people to get what it was trying to do and for itself to get what it was trying to do, But God do I love Bleach. So yeah, if we were to turn it black and white, we get those kind of 2 distinct values. And we may drop one down or raise one up a little bit here and there, communicate some more shadows. But for now, this is good. Let's move on. You're very late. Yeah, kinda. So we're on the kind of towards the end of the stream. We're just wrapping some stuff up right now. We worked on this fun villain guy. He's pretty cool. We're just kind of continuing to work on him. All right, we've got our pink thing here. We've got our pink element poking through. I think we're going to have it along the collar too, or along the cuffs rather. That'll be pretty fun. Hunter says Bleach beats Ichigo versus Aizen. Man, what an era. What an absolute era. I just like remember my life at that time watching that. You guys are starting wars over anime in the comments. I will not allow this in the stream. All right, now that we're doing color, we can start to kind of come in a little bit. We're using lasso tool in Photoshop to kind of get the crisp color under the lines. I'm imagining his hair is probably like dark with some gray. Also remembering that this guy is a villain, right? So I think his color palette maybe even be a little... We might want to include more greens and yellows in his skin tone to kind of create that sense of, a little bit of sense of unease, just a little bit. Whoa. Yeah, this guy's like a pirate, kind of a piratey villain, a sky pirate villain. All right, so we've kind of laid a bunch of colors down here. I'm thinking maybe we want to bring the background value a little darker, just uniformly. And that way we can start to kind of cut this guy out a little, maybe. Start to reveal his vibe. This part's really fun because it's almost like removing a liquid, like a masking fluid from like a watercolor painting or like a painting that you've done. I love removing tape or fluid. Like, look at this. It's so fun. Oh, no worries, Sonny. Yeah, don't use the internet too much, man. The internet, too much internet, not so good. I wish when I was younger I had a cap on how much content and stuff I could do. I mean, I wouldn't have been happy about it, so actually I don't know. But these days, with how much is on the internet, gosh. Gorsh. All right, let's think. Oh, man, this guy's looking great. This is looking real great, I think. Starting to come together real nice. Snoozy J says, I feel like I could avoid so many childhood traumas with more internet restrictions. Not going to lie. Dude, I 100% agree, man. Gosh, the stuff. The hazing. It's not good. All right, we're starting to take shape here. Our guy. Starting to really take shape. He almost says, I love the part where you select and delete out the outside coloring. So satisfying. It's like a reward. It's like a reward. Exactly. It is like a reward. So remember what we said earlier about two distinct values? We're really starting to see the benefit of that now because a lot of what we're drawing is pretty clear. Like, I don't think that there's a clarity issue on really anything that's happening in this drawing. we want the value of the kind of like, yeah, the value of the jacket to be raised a little bit. We're going to lower the tolerance down to about 7%. That's the auto select tolerance. So where you're selecting out certain areas. And what we're going to do is grab the neutral value of the corduroy. We're going to raise it a little bit. We're just going to do a really soft gradient. You'll kind of see the effect of this. Actually, I'll hide the selection so you can sort of see. So it's just going to change the two values that we have. So the shadows will be a little bit darker. And let's make it only a little bit lighter, actually. Just kind of crisp up that those relationships on the jacket. The other thing you want to keep in mind is what is a soft edge and what is a hard edge. So when you're shading a character like this is cloth, right? So let's grab this out. And let's say here, because it's a gradual fold over, you want a soft edge. So we'll play with those two values and kind of go back and forth. But mostly it's kind of that soft edge. Then there'll be those kind of spots where it's more of a hard edge, more of a clear shadow, whatever it is, right? And if it's more of a fold, it'll be a soft edge, but it'll be like a smaller, more distinct soft edge, right? So now all of a sudden it's looking a little bit more like a painting, even how we're doing the undercolor, the balance of soft and hard edges. This is kind of when you're getting to the higher level of coloring and painting characters, is when you can strike that balance, make certain things feel like the material that they are. And since we're doing corduroy, we want it to feel like a soft edge. However, when we're doing cast shadows, that is a shadow that is cast from another object, it's going to be a hard edge. So for instance, around here where it's cut out from the top layer of the jacket, we're going to do that crisp edge, invert the selection, and right outside of it, we're going to make sure that edge is crisp by painting the lighter value around it. And we remove it. That's a nice crisp hard edge. Susie J says, do you add any hints of bounce light, or is it too much for a character drawing? No, bounce light's totally fine. Bounce light's encouraged, man. I mean, even if I add it down here, it actually adds a level of realism. Usually bounce light is stuff I do at the very end, but it's a great point to bring up, and it's good to include it in this little section here. Let's keep it going. Since it's corduroy, we can also have little strips of some highlight here and there, like almost like, oh, but it's kind of folding over a little bit, or you can kind of see the edge of the corduroy sort of kind of interrupt the clearness of it, kind of have that material, the pattern of the material kind of shine through. Not doing the best job. Corduroy is kind of hard to imply, but I'm doing my best here. Tone it back. But those details, you could just get totally lost in doing those a ton. Sunny says, your art style also gives a lot of Road of El Dorado vibes, dude. Sick. Sick. So now we're going to paint in... Ooh, also, so here's a good thing to keep in mind, right? So here we have this kind of what do you even call that? Lapel? A whatever? A little thing on the jacket. So this is a cast shadow. However, it raises up higher towards the end. So that means the shadow gets smaller here. Boop. So you can kind of see the shadow cascade out a little bit. And of course, as it is like lifted up, the shadow becomes less intense, because the closer the shadow is to the cast shadow object, the darker and crisper it is. The farther away it is from the cast shadow, the softer it is. Just a little rule of thumb for ya. For the lads only. Lad's only wisdom. All right, so now we need a lighter color to go with this. So we're gonna switch back to our hard round brush, and we're going to paint in the gray of this little petticoat he has. He's gotta have a little gray petticoat, right? We could also have it pop out underneath here as well. We could have the petticoat kind of visible under the belt. That's a fun pop of color, and we can have that color return maybe in the socks, or like some element of yeah, maybe the sock or something in between the stitching on his boot, but repeat that value maybe or that color later on as well. We could do that too. Yeah. Also, any other questions, you guys are totally free to ask if you wish. Disabrar the herd. Exactly. That's exactly right, Hunter. Oh yeah, also, wait, let me pull this up. If anybody wants to join the Patreon, it's the best way to support the stream. Let me see here. Let me see if I can show you guys what you get. So if you guys want to join, the Patreon, this is the tier that you can. So this is the Scout tier. It's $3 a month. It's a great way to support the stream and our growing community. You get access to the intimate Discord server where we do regular studio hours and character design challenges 3 times a week. That's actually more like 2 times a week. I should change that. But yeah, basically, you can join. It's, I wanted to keep it very affordable. And essentially, and this is kind of testimonial to everybody using the Discord, is that it's a really wholesome community, very encouraging community, and everybody works really hard. And it's been incredible seeing everybody share their work and be a part of this space together. Yeah, and it makes it possible for me to stream more. It makes it possible for me to kind of host more events and stuff with everybody. And yeah, it's giving me the time to be able to prepare something like this course that I'm offering now. So it's really, really awesome to be able to transition more into teaching, especially teaching stuff that I really care about and believe in. So that's totally an option. If you guys want to join the Patreon, the link is in the description of the video, and also subscribe. But surely the best way to support the channel is to share it with a friend. So share my streams with your mom or your grandma. Snoozy J says, I love how much clothing knowledge you seem to have. I mean, it's mostly lighting knowledge, but some clothing knowledge. I love clothing. Costume is a huge part of character. Emmy's popping in before bed to make sure you just stretch your wrists. Yeah, everybody do your wrist stretches for sure. If you don't know the wrist stretches, you should learn them. I'll do a gum road, a wrist stretch gum road for like $1. That would be really fun, actually. Sick. Dude, I love this guy. This is really cool. So we've got his petticoat going. Let's look at the values here. So the values are pretty distinct. We're pretty good. Maybe we want, what do we need? Well, we need shadows on the face. That's for sure. Definitely need shadows on the face. So that'll be more of I feel like we need to multiply to do that. So we're going to set the brush to multiply. And we're going to make the brush like 20% opacity, 50% opacity. And what setting the brush to multiply is going to do is maintain some of the hues we've built up underneath, but we're going to be able to drop in these shadows under important areas like the cheekbones, the nose, under the brow, maybe upper lip, a little bit, inside the mouth. Maybe want to be a little bit warmer. And we can go back in and kind of edit these different planes and make sure that it's actually working and not working to the detriment of the project, or of the character rather. So we want to make sure the shadows are placed appropriately. But again, sticking to those 2 values, right? So if we look at the face, almost 2 distinct values. We have some scribble sketch marks, which we'll probably paint on top of now that we've gotten to this stage. But we'll go. Oh, Sunny asked, what's your favorite Greek god? Thanks for asking again. I totally missed it the first time. My favorite Greek god? Gosh, I don't even know. Greek? I definitely like the Greek gods for sure. More of a fan of the Norse gods personally, but Greek gods are cool too. You know, ironically, I don't want I shouldn't really say that. Actually, probably Artemis, but it's because of Hades. But I love Artemis. Artemis is cool. Dude, I have hundreds of hours logged into Hades back when it came out. I loved that game so much. And then I decided I wanted to do art, so I quit games for like a long time. So we're just adding some shadows on the hands. That's just kind of adding a little bit of oomph, you know, just a little bit of oomph. Going to do it to the bottom of this as well. Add some depth here, some darkness here. Those shadows are just going to kind of help us see the forms that we're working with here a little bit, you know. Chunky shadows are good. You don't want your shadows to be too ambiguous. So now what we're going to do is transition to soft brush. We've seen hard and soft edges. We talked about that a bit. So we're going to use it a little bit on the face. A little bit. Adding a soft shadow transition. So it kind of trails into a shadow on the bottom. And see how much that just did for the face? Just a little bit of form. Just a little bit of form. Actually, we'll do it with a slightly warmer hue. It's a little better. Snoozy J says, I think my favorite would be Dionysus based off Hades. What's your favorite Norse god? Dude, I love Thor. Thor's hilarious. He's just like a super strong idiot. I love Thor. Thor's awesome. But gosh, favorite Norse god. I love Hela, the god of death in Norse mythology. It's a really interesting goddess of death. It's pretty cool. Snoozy J says, I just love seeing the bro vibes he's giving up. Hey man, Zag. Cool. All right, see you later, Hunter. See you Thursday, buddy. Thanks for dropping in. Simon says, my favorite is Dionysus, the god of wine and blind rage. Zagreus is cool. Odin's pretty sick. All right, so we got some cool tones working on here. Kind of costume this guy up. Look at him go. Gonna add some leather accents here, so we're gonna add it on the belt, I believe. Let's switch our brush back to normal. Go to 100% opacity, not capacity, lol. Opacity. Switch to hard round. Just gonna paint in and block in this value here. So for the belt, we'll figure out what 2 values are gonna work best here. That's feeling a little too saturated, so we could even go with like a lighter beige almost, or like maybe even a darker color. Add some contrast. Reduce the saturation. Go a little bit lighter on a couple parts. Maybe a little warmer. A smidge warmer. And we'll make the buckle. Since he's orange themed, we're gonna go gold for the bling. A blinged out belt buckle. Yes. He's a villain. He's a swagged out villain. He needs gold buttons, gold belt buckle. Needs a golden tooth. 100% needs a golden tooth. Maybe. I actually don't know. Definitely needs a sick ring. He's married. Oh my gosh, he's married, guys. Based. All right, see you, Sandman. Take care, buddy. Hunter says not tolerating the Loki disrespect here. Oh, man. Damn. True. We're low-key disrespecting Loki. Got him. All right, we're going to stay in the purple but go a little darker and go a little desaturated. But we're going to stick with that slight purpley hue. And we're going to paint in the cape now. But we're going to do it on a separate layer just so we have it on a separate layer. We can just select it and mask it out. Now I want to see his wife/husband. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Who's the lucky fella? Oh, man. I feel like this guy needs the absolute nicest wife on earth. You know what I mean? Like, she's really nice, and he's actually a big softie. I feel like it's that. It's that archetype. So we just did a clever trick. We just selected out the whole thing, but we're painting out on the layer above. So we selected the layer underneath, but we're painting on the layer above. So you can make selections and make your life a little easier sometimes by doing that kind of stuff. Get creative. Get creative with how you do your layers, man. Snoozy J says OMG, and she would be the one that has to remind that he ordered no pickles. Exactly. Sunny says, don't you just hate it when someone calls you a mama's boy? Like, what's wrong with loving my mom? That's like so base. Just so it's true. Like, what's wrong with loving my mom? Like, that's true. Oh, man. You know, people are afraid. People are afraid of compassionate people. You're allowed to be a compassionate person if you want to be. The world needs more compassionate people. All right, here we go. I think the cat, we'll have to save painting in the cat or like fixing that for later. For now, I guess we'll just keep this scribble because it's like a fun scribble to show that he's got like a little panther underneath him kind of vibe. I think this is great. This is a great outcome. I love this guy. And it just goes to show, you know, you can start with whatever, right? Like you can start with this little Goomba and boom, you got a villain. You got a sick villain with a sword, an awesome costume. Like, look at him. This is sick. So we can go into our sketch layer now and we can kind of remove some of the lines that we don't necessarily need that are kind of getting in the way. Some around the edges, kind of just sort of clean up a little. Of course, you know, ideally I would have done a cleaner sketch before doing the color underneath, but hey, you know, come on, forget about it. The rest is fine. The rest is totally fine, I think. Maybe just this here, you know. Ideally, or actually what I would do is I would just paint on top of this until it felt right. That's what I would do, really. She helps me. It's a good bit. It's a good bit, Sonny. All right, I'm going to opacity lock the cape layer because now I can just kind of edit the way I want. So I'm going to have the value and color match the hair or be really close. That'll just be a fun motif, just kind of for me to do as I please. Select out the darker parts. Just do a block it out. All right, creating a strong kind of silhouette. Now let's look at these values again. Let's see here. Okay. Feeling pretty good. 2 distinct values per object, right? That's kind of our goal, with some variance in between for material implication and stuff. But this is feeling pretty good. It's feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty darn good, if you ask me. I like it. So we'll take this dark value. We'll go up back to the kind of costumed layer, and we're going to make sure that what is in shadow should stay in shadow. Also, I feel like it's just good to make his... We're going to opacity lock this layer too. We're just going to make his shoes black for now. We'll kind of fix up those later, I think, but we'll mark him in as kind of just a darker tone. Again, 2 values on the boots, a lighter gray and a black. And of course, if we want them to be shiny, add a little specular highlight here and there. Add a little bit of shine. Add a little bit of shine. Boop, boop. Beep, bop, boop. Boom. We got a guy. Look at him go. He's so cool. So there's one last thing we could do if we really wanted to. The values right now are not super unified, so actually what I'm going to do is take the cape, raise it up a little bit, make it a little lighter, because it's a little too dark right now. We don't want it to be that dark. And even we're going to take a lighter color, and we're going to airbrush out some areas to be a little lighter. It's still the darkest value, but now it's not too dark, right? It was too contrasty for what we had. Which is good to know the balance. And then last but not least, I think we're just gonna carve this out a little bit. Make sure this silhouette is clean against the neutral background, which we'll paint later. We'll fix it. We'll make it something specific, I think. Now would definitely be a good time to go in and add some highlights for sure. I think actually what we're going to do is, first we got to add a second value to our vest, give it some volume. Same kind of shadow trick as we did with the other piece. We're also going to add an area of shadow where the jacket covers over. What we're going to do is select the whole rest of it now that we've cut out our two main shadows, and we're just going to airbrush a little bit so it gets darker as it goes down. That value is enough to give it just a little bit of dimension. You can also make it a little bit of a warmer shadow maybe. There you go, baby. And then the rest, I mean, the sword hand here and stuff like this could be do with a little bit of editing and whatnot, but we can leave that kind of for next time. We'll fix the sword for sure, I think, because the sword's kind of just a weird object right now. I'm getting quizzed in the chat right now. Sunny says, on the top of your head, what is Frey the god of? I do not remember. Oh, Katon says, what does locking opacity do? So basically, I'll show you. Essentially, if I were to make a shape, like let's say the shape, and I were to lock opacity, which is this button right here, which you can do it in Procreate 2 or lock transparency pixels. I think it's called alpha lock in Procreate. It basically means you cannot add to the canvas space that has been painted onto. But what is on the canvas space, you can still paint onto it, right? But now it's excluding everything else. So it's useful. Opacity lock is useful when you've done a silhouette and you want to just kind of lock it in place and do some stuff on top. Pretty easy, right? And then it's not a selection or anything. It's not a mask. It just is what it is. Turn it off and now you can paint on the outside, but you couldn't before. The other option is you do like a weird shape and you do a selection. And then with that selection, you create a mask. That means that all you see is what is there. So I'm painting all around the object, but you don't see it. But when I remove the mask, you can see everywhere I've been painting, right? I think we've implemented pink into this character's outfit in a pretty good way. I don't know about you guys, but I think we did a pretty good job. The other option is to have the interior of his jacket be like a warmer pink, which I'm actually open to. So what we can do is let's try it on a new layer on top just so we can have the option to remove it. But if we were to do that, that would add a kind of trim element to his costume that's cool. Could also put it behind him too, which is nice. It's pretty fun. So it definitely adds a lot more like levity to the character, I think. Adding that amount of pink, it's like a lot. Have it under here as well and along the rim of the jacket too, right? You'd see it as well. Which, it's doable, right? God of Summer, slay. Susie J says he seems like the gentleman type of villain, the one that would compliment your hair and kiss your hand before stealing from you. Oh yeah, for sure. This guy's got it all. He's definitely rizzed out for sure. Look at him. He's so cool. So with the gold, we didn't really do any detailing on the gold at all. Gold is really hard to paint, but you can paint it however you want. However, what we're just going to do is a very simple, just like highlight metallic on top. And we're just going to leave the shadows kind of pretty simple, I think. Shadows for gold, they reflect what's around them, but they also have a tinge of warmness, or that's a great way to communicate gold, adding a little tinge of warmness here and there. So when you zoom out, it looks like gold. It's a little too warm, but we're just going to leave it for now. So what we would do in a cleanup in this scenario is go into the face and actually just kind of paint it in pretty flat, not include so much drawing. Even with the sketch here, we could lift the drawing up by having a more saturated line color. Oops, clipping mask. So by saturating the line color, it just kind of takes a little bit of the edge off. Maybe we do more of a red. Right, it adds just a little bit. So when we remove it, see the difference? Very different with how the character feels. Feels a little more warm, a little more unified with the lines. But yeah, this is feeling pretty good, I would say. We could even turn the lines down. Turn them down to like 70%. Kind of see how the character sings a little bit with just the shapes. Feels pretty good. Feels pretty good. Sure. The shape on this side of the cape is a bit much, so I'm actually just gonna axe it, I think. We'll fix the tiger or creature later. It's feeling a little better, personally. Solaire says, I returned, my apartment ended up canceling, so I'm free. Oh, sick. Sick. So yeah, we're just kind of wrapping up this guy now. I think on top we can just add a little bit of flair here. Now that we've added kind of a golden band, we could probably do a golden sword, I think. Or at least a golden like foil for the sword. Damn, I love this drawing. This is really fun. All right. You know what would be fun? I think I'll finish this off stream and I'll probably do a character design breakdown on this guy just for like the patrons or something. I think that's what I'll do. So this is a personal thing I like to do. Okay, actually, before I wrap up, what I'm going to do is, this is like super jank, but I'm going to jankily make like a new layer. And I'm just going to very simply just like mask out the sword. Pretend it's not there. Pretend it's not there. And then what we're going to do is add a new layer. We're going to call it color dodge just for fun. And we're going to do maybe like a warm color. Yellow? No, let's do red color maybe. I think red. I think red's good. Maybe even a more neutral. All right, we're just messing around here with a couple options we could do. Before I do any of that, what I'm going to do is add a layer and do some curves. So we're going to darken some parts and lighten some parts. This increases the contrast for the shadows and stuff, just for fun. And then the color dodge we have here. Yeah, I guess we'll keep it. And then we'll do... Actually, would blue light be better? I'm wondering. kind of light we want on this guy. Actually, let's try to do a color dodge with some light color. Yeah. So he's kind of hazed out a little bit. Not too much, but just enough. And then after that, we could up the contrast a little. This is just super jank, so. All right, we kind of have this character sort of in a context now. He's kind of in daylight, about to lead the charge into something or whatever, and he's out there. This is very like daylight kind of color scheme sort of vibe. I didn't finish the coloring on the lapel pieces or anything, so this is still lacking some finish, but this is pretty fun. Sonny says, guys, remember to like the stream. That's so funny. Yeah, like the stream, guys. Definitely like, for sure. Well, that was fun. All right, we went on a journey there. That was a bit of a process, so good on us. We went from a weird guy to another guy. So, yo, thanks, Mego. Yeah, this was pretty fun to do. Just like a quick drop in, nothing too crazy. It's also hard to do this stuff live, man. It's so much easier when you're by yourself and you're able to just kind of zone in. But I'm getting better at doing this stuff live, that's for sure. I still don't think I can emulate my like true capacity while I'm sketching live, but we're getting there. Yo, for sure. I'm so glad you learned a lot. Maybe to end, we can do some funny fish people. You missed streaming last Thursday. I missed streaming last Friday. Last Thursday I was on. But hey, thanks for noticing. Yeah, I may keep the Fridays. I may end up doing just Tuesday and Thursday. The 2 T's, TT, because man, I feel like maybe 3 days is too much. But I could just be wrong about that. Who knows? But I'm going to try Tuesday, Thursday, I think, for a couple weeks, see how it feels. Snoozy J says, I love funny fish people. Exactly, right? Who doesn't? Let's imagine this is a very snooty person. And they're like, oh. Kind of an older, kind of like, oh. They're like, will you see? Well, I just can't, unfortunately. Yeah. Could even like not even include the pupils, just have it be very dispassionate and strange. Sonny says, did you know that Hermes and Frey both have swords of gold? A golden sword, now what does that mean symbolically? That's a powerful symbol right there. A golden sword. A sword only used for good? Gold is not a very useful metal. It's something of value. Oh, he's turning his head, so I feel like the Be more like this. It means the sword is made of gold. True. True. Having a gold sword means the sword is made of gold. True. That is true. All right, let's imagine this guy's like... designed after some kind of thing, because the whole point is like the upper class has these like crazy elaborate fish costumes. Oh yeah, if people are new to the stream and they don't know what I'm doing right now, I have an IP where people are just like fish people. They're obsessed with fish. So this would be like an upper class fish person in Fish World. Fish World. A winged fish person. Flying fish is definitely an avenue that I've thought about exploring, Sunny. It's a good point. Flying fish are very interesting thematically and like even utility wise. Like what would they do? How would that technology work? I wonder. Oh, Calvin said, I am technically a lurker. Am I technically a lurker if I said hi in the beginning? That's so funny. Yeah, maybe, but giving your characters the ability to fly changes everything about the story, Sonny. So, like, if the characters are stuck on an island and a bunch of them can fly, and it's, like, unrestricted, then it's, like, that's a whole thing. Like, ooh, like, what does that mean for the world? What does that mean for their economy? You know? We're trying to think of world building in a really deep way. Oh, and remember they have the fish on their heads too, right? Let's do some more of those. Oh, it should be lower though, I think, to give the head more room. Yeah, that feels right. Sunny says, I must be dumb because the deepest my world building brain can go is that they just have wings. That's okay, man. I mean, there's levels, right? So it's like, why do they have wings? Like, what challenges would present themselves if they had wings? What problems would be solved if they had wings? Thinking that way, starting to get to the point where you're able to make strong world building decisions. So when you go to design stuff or draw or anything like that, you're going in with like a really original mindset. Or not original, but you know, you're going in with a problem solving mindset for sure. All right, so I'll definitely clip out the section where I detailed and went over the course. I'll clip it out and I'll put it in the community page or something so that people can check it out if they wish. So we'll make a hat. I'm thinking the hat's made of some kind of material, and on it is a fish, because of course it is. Like a weird fish, maybe. That's funny. Cool. So you get kind of a snooty guy here in his fish garb. What would the macro of this be? No, I feel like it's got to be a different fish. It's got to flow with the shapes, right? It's got to be like this. Like maybe a spine. Some like weird eyes on the side. Yeah, there we go. Boom, baby. And then from like a silhouette point of view, it would be... HD says, do you usually base your fish people on a specific fish species from the beginning of the concept phase? For some reason, fishes like sheepheads or sunfishes came to mind. Those would be fun. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm getting to in the next phase of the project, because I started it just totally freehand for fun. And going in with a lot of strong reference will be really good later on. For instance, even like Crab Guy, like it's just clearly crabs. So when you're doing alternate history or strange worlds, or like, you know, with maybe some fantasy elements but still grounded, you of course have to be super mindful of what you're adding to your world and like what is possible in your world. So I've actually been a little reluctant to be too concrete about this is a sunfish, but they're definitely kind of equivalents, right? So that's what I'll kind of include, I think. Most likely. But they're always loosely based off of a real thing, you know? But yeah, like, look at this guy. This guy's terrible. He's like strange. What does he want with you? You don't even want to know. Right? All right. I think we're going to leave it here for today, but this was pretty fun. Got like a weird design here, but I like him. He's cool. Another strange fish guy. He gives me Spy Master vibes from Dishonored. Oh, sick. I never got to play Dishonored, unfortunately. Ah, man. I had a relatively sheltered childhood, so like no video games for a long time. And then by the time I could, I really just stuck to indie games because my personality is so addictive, man. Like it's not possible for me to have moderation with certain things. And it's good to know that about yourself when it's relevant, you know? If you really want to build a skill, it's good to know what you can allow yourself to do. But yeah, this is fun. Thank you guys so much for joining and tuning in and stuff and bearing with me while I did my marketing for the course and stuff, which spots are still available if anyone wants to lock in for November, December. It's going to be a really fun time. It's going to be a really, really fun time. But yeah, getting back on the horse with streaming. Let's go. It's been a huge weekend, so it's great to get back on with this stuff. And yeah, I love you guys. You guys are great. Thank you so much to my patrons. You guys are awesome. You make this possible. And Calvin says, bye, Gabe. Have a good rest of the day. Dude, thank you so much. Sunny as well. All you guys are awesome. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe if you like the video. If you're new here, check out the Patreon and stuff. It's a fun Discord community. And yeah, I'll be streaming it on Thursday. And Yeah, and if anyone has questions about the course, then because you may be getting to know me for the first time, you can hit me up and ask me any questions. I'll answer for sure. But yeah, have an absolutely fantastic day, everybody, and I will catch you all on the next one. And goodbye from this guy. What a great fun design. He's so fun. That was so fun. All right, much love, everybody. Peace out.